Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. So in today's tutorial will be on this tailored short. I made the brown one under it and it didn't give at all, so I recreated this one, and this is the tutorial I'll be giving you guys today. It's so perfect for every style that you want to do with it. So this is the first one. You can see the zip didn't match at all, and it didn't fit like the first one you guys saw. So let's get straight into the video and I will see you at the end of the video. So for this tutorial, I use a crepe fabric and I use 1.5 yards because I am a hip size 46. But if you are smaller than I am, I believe that 1 yard should be enough for you. So because I want to have a band of 1.5 inches, I place my tape at 1.5 inches and then I'll go ahead and match my crush depth. So to get this, you're going to divide your hip measurement divided by 4, and then you can add ½ inch. But you can do 1 inch if you want it to be a bit free at the crush area. But for me, I like mine to be, it's not fitted but it's just there, so I just added ½ inch. But if you can do 1 inch, it will work as well. And then I went ahead to mark the full length of mine is 20 inches, and then from my crush line I am coming up by 2 inches to mark my hip line, and then I'll go ahead and connect this line straight. So this is our hip line, our crush line, the full length of this short, and then the waistline. So at the crush line, we are going to go ahead and start inserting our measurements. I'll go ahead and insert my hip measurement divided by 4. I'll make a mark there, and then I'll add 1 inch to it for stitching allowance. And you know that this tailor short is not a fitted one, right? So you can go ahead and do the same. Just continue with it. So if you follow whatever I'm doing, you're going to get a perfect shot, I promise you. Don't worry, I am going to hold your hand throughout this tutorial. So I'll go ahead and connect this line all through to the waistline, just like you see me do, and then I'll bring up the hip one onto that place. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and extend our crush. So to extend your crush, you're going to be dividing your crush, your hip measurement by 20, and mine is 2.3, and so I rounded it up to 2.5 inches. So I use 2.5 inches to extend this line, this crush line, and then I'll go ahead and connect this line, my crush depth. So this is what we have at this point. The next thing we are going to be doing is to come in from this place by ½ inch. You don't want to have too much gaping at that center front, so that's the reason we are trying to eliminate a bit of that from there, even though it's not fitted there, but you don't want to have excess at that place. So once you connect that line into the curve that is coming up from the hip, we are going to go ahead and connect this one to the hem. If you want to have a bit of maybe fitted area at that place, you can come in a bit at that, but I just connected mine straight. And then I'll go ahead and insert my stitching allowance of 2 inches to the hem part, and then I'll connect it straight. Once we are done with that, this is what we have at this point. So you know that it has a plate, something that looks like a plate or dart. Should they call it dart? No, plate at this front part. So for me, I'll be using just 1 plate for my own. So I'll just make a big plate, and then I'll go ahead and measure from that place and make sure I have my hip measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch stitching allowance. If I don't have up to that, I'll release what I have there, or if you have more than that, you can just cut off the remaining excess from it. So I'll go ahead and mark my dart intake, which is 4 inches, my nipple to nipple. So that's where the folding is going to start from. So you're going to fold them, and then at this point I am coming down by ½ inch. So the reason for this is so that the short will sit perfectly on your body. So you're going to come in by ½ inch, and then you're going to connect it into the starting line. And that's basically all for the front pattern. There is nothing serious with the front pattern. If you have any question, please leave it in the comment section and I will answer you. So for the back one, I've transferred my fabric onto another fabric, and then I have allowance every round of this pattern, so that I'll be able to cut out the back one. So you should have something like 2 to 3 inches around your pattern. So I'll go ahead and extend this crush area straight, and I'll also extend the hip line straight as well. So guys, once we are done with this, the next thing you're going to be doing is to extend the back crush line. And to get this, you're going to divide your hip measurement by 10, sorry. So whatever I have there, I have 4.6. So I'm going to be marking exactly 4.6. And look at where I place my tape so that you not make mistake of what we are doing. So I'll place my tape from the original hip line or crouch line that we marked earlier, and I'll mark that 4.6. And then from here I'm going to mark 1 inch from the hem. I'll mark 1 inch at this place as well. So please, where I measured my crouch is very important. Please look at the video very well. And then I'll go ahead and connect this with this part of my ruler, with my this part of my curve. If you don't have this curve, please do where to get it. Once we are done with that, I'm going to go ahead and trace out this front pattern. I'm going to trace it out this way so that it's going to enter into the paper under it, right? So I'll just trace it out this way, just like you see me do. Once I am done with that, I'll just lift up this front paper to take it away from what we have so that we'll be able to insert our back bodice measurements for this short. So from that place, I'm going to come in by 2 inches. The reason for this is good so that we will eliminate every gaping at the back. You don't want to have that at the back. It's not going to look nice at all. In fact, whatever you see me do it is going to help you. And leave a comment in the section, a comment if you tried this and it came out very well for you. And then I'll go ahead and connect this line upward, just like you see me do this way. Go ahead and do yours. So this is what we have at this point. So once we are done with that, from there I'm going up by 2.5 inches. Please, if you don't have like a bigger butt, you can do 2 inches. It's going to be perfect for you. But because, just like I said, my hip is 46, so I'm trying to be sure that it's going to sit well on my body. So I'll extend the waistline and then I'll connect that 2.5 inches all the way to that line. So this is what we have at this point, guys. We are done with that. So I'm going to go ahead and take out the front bodies and we're going to insert our back body. So from that line, I'm going to mark my waist measurement divided by 4. I'll add 1 inch for that, and then I'll add 1 inch for stitching allowance. I'll make a mark there. So this is what we have after taking our measurement. So I'll close up the front bodies, making sure I arrange it to the original state. And then from at the hip line, I am taking 1 inch for allowance. I'll also add 1 inch. In fact, I am adding 1 inch every side of this. So it's from the side, we're not adding it from the crouch area, right? So I'll add 1 inch all around, and then I'll connect it with my straight ruler. If you have any question, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, please leave it in the comment section and I will explain. But I believe that I explained everything. Just follow the tutorial. You're going to get everything that you need. So I'll go ahead and connect this line. So this is what we have at this point. So I'll also go ahead and trace out the hemline as well, because I don't want one to be longer than the other. So I'll take out this one and then I'll go ahead and cut out the back bodies. If you haven't subscribed up to this moment, please do where to hit on the subscribe button, join the family. And to my old subscribers, I say thank you very much for all your support. So this is what we have, and I went ahead to transfer it to my fabric, and I added ½ inch stitching allowance all around, just the hem and the center back and center front, side back and side front. I didn't add anything, but every other side, the center and the waist, I added ½ inch to it. So this is for our zipper, our fly zipper. So I have 2 pieces of it. One is curved while the other one is not curved, and the length of it is 8.5 inches, and then the width is 2.5 inches. So I went ahead to serge this, just like you see me do. So I serged it, the curved part of it. Then I'll go ahead and open up my my front short. I'll place it this way and stitch it down by ½ inch. So I'll just go ahead and pin this down, and then I'll go ahead and stitch it down. So once I am done stitching it down, I'm going to turn it this way, just like you see me do, and then I'll go ahead and top stitch it this way up to where we have our stitchings. So guys, this is what we have after we are done with it. So I'll go ahead and open it up this way. I don't know if I mentioned it that we stitched at the front part. So I'll open it up this way, and then I'll place the front side of my zipper facing that zipper fly that we have. So I'm going to place it this way, making sure that it touches the edge of that top stitch that we made. And then I'll go ahead and pin this down, because you don't want it to be moving around while you're working on it. So once I pin this down and secure it, I'm going to go ahead and stitch on this side of it from the beginning to the end. So guys, this is what we have at this point after stitching it down. So I'll go ahead, see what we have. I'll go ahead and flip it inward this way. Don't be scared, I am with you during this process. So we are going to go ahead and stitch down from here. So before we stitch down, I usually like to pin my pieces down so it doesn't keep moving around. So I'll stitch down this way. As I am getting towards the crouch area where I had to have a curve this way, I'll go ahead and raise up my zipper, and then I'll curve it way. So please don't stitch that curve on your zipper allowance. So now I'll go ahead and serge this part that won't have the zipper on both sides of the front. You're supposed to serge this before you start attaching your zipper. I forgot to mention that. So sorry about that. But if you don't have your serging machine, you can go ahead. So once we are done stitching that, I'll bring the zipper shield. I'll place it under this. You can see how I place it, making sure it matches at this waistline as well. Then I'll bring the other side of this front part, fold it in by 1/2 inch, and I'll place it inward this way. You can see the way we place it, and then I'll go ahead and stitch. Make sure that while stitching, you are stitching the zipper shield under with the zipper as well. So you're going to stitch until you get to where it ends. Then you can where you end, and then you're going to go ahead and overlap this the zipper this way, or the allowance that way, of the crush allowance, and then stitch down. I don't know if you guys understand what I was trying to say earlier, but once you finish stitching down the other side of the front, this is what we have. So I'll go ahead and fold this side inward by 1/2 inch. You can stitch it down if you want to, or you can just pin it down just like you see me pinning. So I'll pin it down by 1/2 inch this way, just to keep it in place. And then I'll bring the other side that is going to overlap this one. I'll also fold it in by 1/2 inch, and then I'll place it on top of that one that we just pinned down. You're going to be placing 1/2 inch on, you're going to be overlapping it by 1/2 inch. Please don't do more than 1/2 inch, and then you're going to stop stitch it all the way from this beginning of the zip to this end. I hope you get this. So this is what we have at this point. You can see how pretty it is looking. We are yet to iron it, and this is our zipper and our zipper shield. You can see how it is now. So once we are done with this, you're going to go ahead and serge the remaining part of this zipper shield, and then hold it, the zipper shield and the other one together, and top stitch it this way. So guys, once we are done with that, you are going to measure from your center front all to your nipple to nipple measurement, folding that allowance that we have, and then top stitch it this way. So you're just top stitching at the waistline, but before you stop stitch, make sure you measure and be sure you have your waist measurement divided by 2, sorry, before you top stitch. And then onto the back, we know we've been working on the front since. So I'll go ahead and measure my nipple to nipple measurement for the back, and then I'll hold in 1/2 inch and stitch it down for my dart. So the length of my dart, I am using 4 inches for it, and then I'll do the same thing for the other side of this back. So for our pocket, you're going to be using a side pocket. I have my fabric of 14 inches by 10 inches. If you want yours to be deeper than mine, I would advise that you make use of more than 10 inches if you want it to be deeper. So this is what we have, and I have 2 pieces of fabric there, so it's for the 2 sides of the pocket. So this is what we have after I'm done top stitching that fold that we have. So I'll go ahead and bring my tape. I'll measure from the side of this short 3 inches inward, and then 7 inches downward, 7.5 inches downward, and then I'll go ahead and connect this point. You can just use a straight slanted line, or you can just do curve just like I did. So my first shot, I used a straight slanted line, but this one I said to use a curve. So we are going to do it on the 2 sides of this pocket of this shot. Once you are done with that, place your pocket fabric together, and then you're going to place your the shot this way on it, so that you'll be able to trace out the measurement, the pocket measurement that we took earlier, instead of remarking it. So I'll go ahead and cut this out. Please, while cutting it out, make sure you don't fold your fabric into two before cutting. Yeah, so you're cutting in one side of the pocket. So this is what we have after that. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to pick up the pocket, place it at the front side of this short. I'll go ahead and stitch it down by 1/2 inch, and I'll do the same thing for the other side as well. I'll stitch it down by 1/2 inch, placing the pocket at this front side. So guys, this is what I have at this point. So the next thing we are going to be, I will be doing, because mine have some curve there, I'm going to just make notches around this so that it's going to turn properly. So you have two ways of top stitching this. You can just fold it this way and top stitch it very close to the edge, or you can just open this up, which I did the second one because I feel is more neater than this first one. So you open it this way, push your allowance towards the pocket, and then stitch it down. So guys, this is what we have at this point. So I'll fold it in this way so that we'll have our pocket covered. So once I fold it in this way, I'm going to be arranging this pocket to close up that 3 inches that we took, or let's say 3.5 inches because of our stitching allowance. So the reason, you can measure it, or you can just mash up this place, making sure that that place is mashed up. Once you mash up this lower side of this pocket, every other place will arrange. So you're going to go ahead and stop stitch here and also top stitch here as well, and do the same thing for the other side. So guys, this is what we have at this point. You can see our pocket is coming together and our short is really coming together. So I'll flip this in out, flip it to the wrong side, and then I'll go ahead and close up, stitch down this pocket and close it up. And I'll do the same thing for the other side of the pocket as well. Please don't stitch on your short, we are stitching on the pockets only. So guys, this is what I have, and then I went ahead to serge it as well. I also serged the pocket shield that I left earlier. So this is what I have at this point. You can see our pocket is looking pretty, the short is looking pretty at this point. So I'm going to bring in the back bodies at this point. I'm done stitching the darts, so I'm going to be doing front facing front at this point, and then I'll go ahead and stitch by 1/2 inch on my crash area from the beginning to the end. So guys, once we are done with that, I'm going to open up the front pattern of this short, and then I'll bring in the back body. So we are doing coupling at this point. I'll place it front facing front. I also serged my crash back once I was done, because I want this to look like an English wear. So I'll stitch it down by 1/2 inch as well on both sides. You know, we didn't add a lot of allowance, so you should be careful while stitching down so that it's not too tight. Once I am done with that, I'll also stitch down by 1/2 inch the crash under this place as well. So guys, this is what we have at this point. You can see I am done with every stitching. I also went ahead to serge the hem of this, so I'll just fold it by 1 inch on 1.5 inches depending on how much you use to serge it and stitch it down, or you can just fold 2 times if you don't have a serging machine. So this is our pocket, this is the other side. You can see the short is looking so pretty. This is our zipper sitting beautifully. In fact, I will tell you that this zipper is more, because I used another method in the other one and it didn't come out well, but this is so beautiful. So the next thing you're going to be doing is to work on the band. So I'm going to measure from that inside zipper shield. I'm going to measure it all the way around to the end of the zipper that I showed you earlier. So make sure you hold your tape well, and make sure you take your measurements accurately and you measure all the way to this point. So what I have there, I will divide it into 2. I'll cut it out because I have my fabric folded into 2. I'll cut it out and then I'll add 1/2 inch stitching allowance on it. So once we are done with that, we are going to pick up 1, and then the length of it, remember we took out 1.5 inches for our band. Folded into 2 is 3 inches, so I added 1/2 inch on both sides for stitching allowance. So that's what I cut out. So I'll fold it this way and I'll stitch it down. So guys, this is what we have at this point. So I'll just turn it to the right side, cutting off any excess that will cause bulge at that area. So once we are done with that, I'll bring in the short. I'll place this at the beginning side, or at the beginning of this waist short, I'll go ahead and stitch it down all the way from the beginning to the end. So you are placing it first at the right side of the short, or you can do the left side depending on how neat your stitches is. So once you are done stitching it down, you're going to cut off that excess zip and then flip it to the other side, fold in by 1/2 inch and close it up. So you're going to top stitch from this beginning to the end as well. So guys, this is what we have at this point. I'm done stitching my waistline, so you can see the waistband. This is what we have at this point. I hemmed it as well, so, and I also went ahead to attach my buttonhole as well and my button. At this point, you can see what I have here. I'm done attaching this. If you want a tutorial on how to use your tabletop to attach your button, I am uploading it soon. Please check it out. So this is what I have at this point. So we're going to go ahead and attach our belt loop. So what I have here is as long as you want, how many loop you're going to have. So I'll fold in to on both sides of this fabric and then fold over at the center. I'll stitch it down from beginning to the end, and the width of it is 2 inches. I don't know if I mentioned. So this is what we have. I've already cut it out the way I want it. I have 3 inches of every one, and I have about 7 pieces of this belt loop. Is it belt loop? Belt holder. So I'm going to attach in 2 here, 2 on both sides, and then for the back I'll attach 2 on these 2 sides and then 1 at the center, because I want my belt to be well placed. So how to attach this: you're going to fold in this way by 1/2 inch. You're going to place it at the tip of this waist and stitch it down. Once you are done with that, you fold in at this point and also stitch it down. So you're going to stitch in the second one below your stitch line, the waist stitch line. I hope you find value in this video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, share my videos to family and friends, and that's it for this tutorial, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.